Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's history video brought to you by the Clinton Public Library. This week we'll be covering a very special issue of the Daily Clintonian. It is titled Progress 78. This was a special edition printing of the Clintonian offering a salute to progress of the Clintonian life and area. It particularly covers developments in the educational, medical, and business areas. Today we'll look at several articles and topics and see about highlighting some different changes that are still bearing fruit today. The first article is titled New South Vermilion Schools Give High Educational Quality. If providing adequate educational facilities is a sign of progress, then the South Vermilion School Corporation can take a place at the head of the class. Few communities in the nation can boast newer or finer facilities than the new high school building located northwest of Clinton. From the standpoint of size alone, the structures and its surroundings are impressive. Built around a central court, there are 42 academic classrooms, 7 industrial art shops and classrooms, 2 home economics laboratories and classrooms, plus a family living area to teach graceful home living. The science wing features 2 biology labs and 1 physics lab, all complete with the most modern equipment and visual aids. One feature as modern as tomorrow is included in the foreign language and business education laboratories in the form of listen and response stations. These feature cassette recorders and head homes. The business education department also has a shorthand lab. One particularly fine feature is the beautiful new auditorium, which seats 750 comfortably and provides a sophisticated lighting and sound system. An orchestra pit is located directly in front of the stage on the main floor. Large enough to run 3 classes at a time, the physical education department is entirely adequate. The gymnasium features a main floor large enough to accommodate 2 separate basketball courts and a balcony large enough for a third. The opposite balcony can be used for gymnastics and weightlifting. Located under the balcony on the north side is a modern wrestling room and locker areas. Our next article is titled New Hospital Gives Area Fine Facility. Progress in Clinton and Vermilion County has not been limited to the industrial and business areas. There has also been great progress along the lines which induce industries and newcomers to consider Clinton a good place in which to conduct business and to live. Not the least of these has been the recently opened new Vermilion County Hospital, which ranks among the best and most modern small hospitals in the state. Occupancy has been heavy ever since it opened its doors for patients early in April. It was not without a great deal of work and planning that this county is able to offer this excellent new facility built at a cost of $5,200,000 with furnishings and equipment estimated to have a total value of nearly $4 million. Actually, the movement which was to provide the new hospital goes back to 1969, but it was not until 1973 that a 3-year fundraising campaign was launched by the Hospital Board of Trustees, the Vermilion County Hospital Association, and many interested citizens. Back in 1969, the original plans had called for modernizing the existing hospital, but careful investigation indicated that a new hospital could be built for a then estimated $50,000 more than the cost of remodeling. An engineering firm was employed to draw up plans for a new structure, and under the leadership of Reverend Victor Kuntz, the fundraising drive was launched. The drive then began in July of 1973 and ended July of 1976 with a total of $700,000 raised. Of this, $600,000 came from Vermilion County residents and $100,000 from Park County residents. As has been the case ever since the company decided on this county for one of its most important installations, the Lilly interests backed the effort. From the Lilly Endowment came a gift of $250,000, and the Eli Lilly Company backed this up with another of $50,000. Lilly employees joined in with pledges amounting to $10,000. Remaining funds came from the federal Hill-Burton program and from the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. The acceptance which the fund drive met is reflected in the fact that the collection rate on all pledges was nearly 90% and the entire cost less than $20,000. Our last article is titled A Salute to Progress. One might say about Clinton's progress in the last several decades, as the cigarette advertisements are always reminding a good-looking gal, "You've come a long way, baby," and Clinton has come a long way. One must have lived here for nearly half a century to realize just how far it has progressed from a broke coal town where 75% of the population was reported to be on WPA to a thriving and growing little city with an assured future. It would be difficult to exaggerate the condition that Clinton was in as the Great Depression ground to an end. Virtually all of the deep shaft coal mines were abandoned, and the dozen or so left were on their last legs and soon to pass into history. Men who had spent their lives in the coal mines found it impossible to obtain other employment. Some had been forced into bootlegging, and Clinton had become a bit famous for the quality of its moonshine, which went all over this part of the country. But prohibition had been booted out, and the few who tried to remain in the profession soon found themselves in trouble. So there was no other out than to go on WPA. It wasn't much, but it was something. At first, the relief plan, known as PWA, this was a more worthwhile effort since it resulted in such improvements as the new, now the old, high school gymnasium, the stadium, and improvements at the riverbank. But labor unions complained, and PWA became WPA. Now most of the work went to waste on such projects as the lake and a gravel pit north of Clinton, which refused to fill, and the golf course, which preceded the Matthews Park course, and which never went further than a tee, a green, and a flagpole. World War II brought the first bit of relief to this economically depressed area, but it was almost like a wild drunk, followed by a terrible hangover. Thousands of workers swarmed in to build the Wabash River Ordnance Works. People who had never seen such money found themselves almost literally rolling in the money, which they spent like water. When the war ended, the original plant was virtually abandoned after a series of starts and stops along a half-dozen lines which cost the taxpayers many millions of dollars and resulted in little permanent good for Clinton. There was no future in it at all, and everyone knew it. But industry was looking for a new outlet. It had moved down the Ohio River and up the tributaries. There was only one place left, the Wabash Valley. It had unlimited good water, a good location, and good transportation, plus plenty of labor and power. First came the Alice Chalmers plant, now owned by the J.I. Case Company. It provided the first sound, permanent jobs, many of them filled by local residents. Plants followed plants. Anaconda came in 1955 with its big plant. Columbia Records, which drew hundreds of women from the Clinton area, provided another big boost to employment. It is still growing. Hercules added its employment boost with its large plant. Central Nitrogen, now CF Industries, moved into the picture, and Liquid Carbonic built its carbon dioxide plant. But the thing that completely sealed the future process and stability of Clinton was when the Eli Lilly Company decided to build one of its largest laboratories just a few miles north of Clinton. Not only has it provided scores of well-paying jobs for local residents, the company and its officials have always made themselves an actual part of the community and its civic life. The company has shown its satisfaction with this location by greatly expanding the facility, and future expansion is reported to be on the drawing boards. The educational progress continues to bear fruit as multiple investments have been made into the Vermilion County Community School System as of late. These fruits being sports fields, along with the gymnasium expansion, and a new classroom thanks to the Giacoletto Foundation. There have also been major efforts to expand the Clinton Industrial Park. Alongside adding new industrial properties, there has been further gains in getting potential business into our local industrial park, including discussions with Amazon, Duke Energy, and Eli Lilly. There have also been step backs in other areas. This paper is from the Clintonian, which we lost just last year, and what a tragic loss it was. Now, Clintonians looking for local news must go through the Terre Haute Tribune Star or Rockville's Park County Sentinel. Hopefully, in the coming years, we are able to see either a revival of the Daily Clintonian or perhaps a new player. Overall, Clinton has clearly come a long way from its roots, and there is still plenty of progress to be made. Thank you for tuning into this week's video, and have a great day. Join us on the 20th as we look at Father's Day for our next history video.